I'll give you a landscape of higher education across the world. What are the different options? What do different colleges look at? What do different countries look at? Why do you pick a certain college, or why do you go to a certain country? And then of course Naima is going to talk a lot about what do colleges look at, right? How do you strengthen your profile? And we also have a student with us who's going to Ireland. He has admits from many universities across the world, but he's chosen to go to Ireland. We'll have him speak too. We also have our Jamboree co-founder Pranav, who will talk a little bit about what are the services Jamboree offers, and then we'll do question and answers. But before I start, I just wanted to really ask this question on what is a dream college for a student? What do you think is a dream college for a student? Maybe there are some students here. What is your dream college? If any student wants to raise his or her hand and volunteer. The seminar is how do you get into your dream college, right? So what is your dream college? Anybody wants to raise their hand and, right? We're not going to punish you for answering whatever you do. So what is your dream college? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, my dream college was काफी earlier था सर मेरा वो ड्रीम तो क्योंकि तब वो फैसिलिटीज नहीं थी जो अब शायद आप दे रहे हो, इसलिए हम इसीलिए आए हैं कि शायद बच्चों को वो ड्रीम कॉलेज मिल जाए।
आपके बच्चे के लिए क्या है ड्रीम कॉलेज? ड्रीम कॉलेज को
as far as I think he wants to go, I cannot say about the dream college, but he thinks about Harvard University. I'm not able to say fully.
Yes, no, we get it. Harvard, you say.
Or Toronto University.
University of Toronto, Harvard. These are your dream. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for. Anybody else wants to take a shot at this? What is your dream college? Yes.
Ivy Leagues, they're the most prestigious.
The Ivy Leagues.
Ivy Leagues, like they're the most prestigious ones.
Right. And how many Ivy Leagues are there? 7. Okay, you're close. There are 8. Right? And out of the Ivy Leagues, which one?
I guess since the course I want to pursue is computer science and biology, there are more Princeton and Yale are more prominent in these. So therefore.
So Princeton and Yale are your dream college. Which class are you in?
12th.
12th. What's your name? Ishmeet. Okay, thank you, Ishmeet. That's wonderful. Thanks for volunteering. So Princeton, Yale, Harvard, University of Toronto, and perhaps many more. Some of you haven't spoken. Well, these are all the 4 names I got out of students today and one parent. These are all top schools. Yale is a top school. Princeton is a top school. So is Harvard. So is in Canada, University of Toronto is a top university, right? Dream college for a student should be which takes the student to whatever potential she is to a greater level. So the dream college for every student cannot be the same. I don't think Harvard or Yale or Princeton should be the dream college for every student. I think every student should aspire to get there, but the dream college for a student should really be a college which can enhance her confidence, which can enhance her skills, which can enhance her ability to go to the next level. And I have seen number of students who aspire very high. Sometimes they get in, and often they are not able to compete. The top colleges are also extremely competitive, and to flourish in these colleges is also not easy. At the same time, I've seen a number of students who've gone to perhaps not as prestigious colleges as a Yale or a Harvard or a Princeton, but they've done extremely well. So I always tell students that pick a college where you can go and do well. It's much more important to go to college and do well than go to a high-ranked college, right? So choose a college that's most suited to you. Choose a college where you think you will flourish. Now, it's not easy. It's not easy to find out which is the college where I may flourish, right? And perhaps that is something, as you get more information on colleges or universities, as you speak to more people, speak to people who studied in those colleges, you will get more insights. So, I believe there is a dream college for every student, and every student can make it to his or her dream college. But choosing that college carefully is important. So with that, a little bit of that spiel, I'm going to walk you through this map a little bit. I don't know how clearly you can see this, but this pretty much represents the landscape of higher education around the world. So if I start with the United States, US is of course the mecca for higher education in the world. About 4,000 undergraduate universities and colleges. A lot of the names that came up, Princeton, Yale, Harvard, are all in the US. Out of the top 100 universities, you pick any ranking with the Times Higher Education, US, at least 50 out of those 100 are in the US. So US clearly dominates the landscape of higher education. I should mention a little bit of a story. In the 1920s, the GDP of Argentina and US was roughly similar, right? And the world was watching where these two countries are going to go. And there are no right answers today. We all know where US is and where Argentina is. But I think a large part of the success of the US is due to its higher education. US has built some outstanding institutions which are foremost in research, foremost in education, and no doubt, world over, students aspire to go to the US because it has some of the best colleges and universities. So it's a long list. We put a few names from the US. Canada is another destination which came up from the audience. I'm not surprised. Chandigarh is the capital of Punjab, Haryana, and many people from this part of the region go to Canada. Canada has about 40 odd universities, out of which I think 10-12 are extremely good. University of Toronto, Waterloo, University of British Columbia, Queen's. These are great universities. Canada is extremely friendly on PR. So it's easier to work and settle in Canada compared to any other country in the world. In terms of job opportunities, of course, it doesn't compare to the US, though it's very good. It's a very peaceful country. Most people who go to Canada fall in love with that country. They want to live there. So another great destination to go to. The United Kingdom has been a traditional favorite with Indians. A lot of our freedom fighters went to UK. Again, about 40 odd universities which Indians choose. It has a very expansive higher education system. Oxford and Cambridge, of course, are right at the top. But Warwick, Bath, Essex, many good universities. St Andrews in Scotland is a top-notch university. University of Manchester, University College London, Imperial, King's College. So many good options in the UK too. UK has opened up a lot after Brexit, so they are encouraging people to come to the United Kingdom. Earlier, when you finished your study in UK, you had to come back. You would not get a work permit. But now, if you study in UK, everybody gets a 3-year work permit. So they are trying to make it more attractive for students to come and live in the United Kingdom. Then you see some countries in mainland Europe: France, Netherlands, Germany, Italy. Ireland I cover separately. So France, Netherlands, Germany, Italy are all part of mainland Europe. These countries are emerging as great destinations in the last 10 years. And the reason is very simple. Education in these countries is in their own language, whether in French or German or Italian. So not many Indians were going to these countries, right? We were largely going to English-speaking countries. But many universities in these countries are now offering degrees in English. And hence, many students have started going there. Now, unlike United States, higher education in mainland Europe is extremely subsidized, and especially the public universities. So you could go to a Germany without paying any tuition, right? You could go to a French college, or you could go to an Italian university on virtually very little tuition. So that's the advantage of many mainland European colleges, and they are gaining in prominence. It's not easy. The process of application is slightly lengthy, and you need to have information on which college is in English. We put some names up here. All of these colleges offer a degree in English. Many of them offer scholarships. In Netherlands, most universities have an education in English, right? So that's a given. So Netherlands has become extremely popular amongst Indians. University of Amsterdam, Groningen, These universities are really emerging, and also these universities are economical. So compared to a US where your average cost of education could be anything between 20 lakhs to 70 lakhs a year, these universities are more around 7, 8, 9 lakhs a year. So these can be fairly economical, especially in the liberal arts and sciences, economics, social sciences, some top universities here. Ireland, I wanted to talk separately, of course, English-speaking country. Again, Ireland has emerged as a destination in the last about 7 to 8 years. Ireland, for some of you who may not know, is also the technology capital of Europe. So some of the top universities or top companies of the world, including an Apple, Google, Microsoft, their European headquarters are in Ireland. So Ireland is extremely short on technology talent. So everybody who goes to Ireland does get to work in Ireland, especially if you are associated with technology, biosciences. Ireland is huge in biosciences. So it's emerging as a great destination. University College Dublin is a great university. Trinity College is another great university, and then many more. India, we've also added, there are many new universities coming up in India which accept PSAT. They are fairly contemporary, as good as any university in the world. Ashoka is one which I am closely associated with in Sonipat in Haryana. The SAT scores work there too. There is Shiv Nadar, there is Kriya University in Chennai which has come up recently, Ahmedabad University, Azim Premji. So many new universities coming up in India. And this has all happened in the last 10 years, by the way. Before that, your choices were the usual suspects. So, and the reason we put them up here is that the application process for some of these universities is very similar to the application process to apply to an American university or to apply to a Canadian university. So, these are some good options. Singapore, again, a great country to go to. Very close to India, it's about a 4-hour flight. Very economical, you can do your 4-year degree in about 30-35 lakhs. But the challenge with Singapore is it is very short on capacity. It has only 3 large universities, NTU, which is Nanyang Technology University, NUS is National University of Singapore, and SMU, Singapore Management University. There's another one, Singapore University of Technology and Design, which has come up lately. So, as a result, Singapore has become extremely competitive. So they look at your school marks, and the last year's cutoffs were as high as 97%, 98%. So they are as difficult to get in as a St. Stephen's or an SRCC or an LSR or some of those colleges in India, because they take about 500 students from India, all these 4 universities put together. So extremely tight on capacity. Australia and New Zealand also have been traditional favorites. Australia has a fairly large system. They are also friendly on PR. They have 8 universities which are right at the top. University of Melbourne, Australian National University. But then, if you apply to Australia, you are certainly going to get admitted to any one of the many universities they have, because they accept students pretty much in all ranges. New Zealand is still upcoming, about 7-8 universities, except about 7,000 students from India, including undergrad, masters and business. Undergrad level, not still many students going there. So this is a geographical spread. Actually, to cover this map can take a whole day. So I've tried to do justice in 5 to 10 minutes, but I can answer more questions in the Q&A session, right? We've covered a little bit about different countries and what their advantages are, but I'll just sort of walk you through quickly. Canada, I did mention about friendly PR policies, high quality education. UK and Europe, I did mention Netherlands, France, Germany are upcoming destinations, high on scholarships. UK is friendly on the work visa after Brexit and a very popular study destination. Job opportunities in United Kingdom are limited, I should mention that. So maybe 1 out of 3 students are able to get a job. Not everybody gets a job in UK. US, by and large, anybody who wants to work, is serious about working in US, gets a job. I've seen very few students come back without a job. Somebody may get a job in a month, somebody may get a job right after college, somebody may get it in 3 months. But if you are serious about working in the US, you do get a job. Same in our Canada, maybe a little bit more difficult. Takes 3 to 6 months. And equally true for Ireland and Singapore. These 4 countries, I think in terms of employability, are at the top. US, Singapore, Ireland, Canada, maybe in that order. Right? UK is challenging, so is Europe. So it's not easy to find jobs. Singapore, I mentioned, economical, close to India, friendly PR. Australia, also friendly on PR, fairly expansive education system. Australia also can be a little tough for job opportunities, limited scholarships. Australia is very high on vocational courses, by the way, whether you want to do hairdressing or cooking or those courses. Australia is extremely popular. Indian colleges I've already mentioned, I'm not going to repeat. I do want to mention there's one university which has come up right in your neighborhood, which is Plaksha University in Mohali, which I'm also associated with. Plaksha is an emerging technology university, top notch. The vice chancellor is just joined in, is the deputy director of the Indian Institute of Science. You should look at the quality of faculty, the quality of courses. 5 minutes from the airport, Chandigarh airport. So some of you, if you get a chance, do go look at that university. Very selective, of course, but worth looking at. I do want to spend about 5 minutes to talk a little bit about the US education system, because it is fairly unique. The Indian higher education system is inherited from Britain, because we were a former colony of Britain. Equally true for Canada, Australia. So while we have a 3-year undergraduate degree, so does the United Kingdom. But US all degrees, undergraduate degrees, are 4 years duration. So in India, the engineering degree is 4 years, all other degrees are 3, correct? But in the US, all degrees are 4-year duration. The UK, all degrees are 3-year, engineering is 4-year. Canada, all degrees are 4 years. So is Singapore. Europe, similar to India. The degrees are 3 years and engineering is 4 years. But other than that, the US universities also have course flexibility, duration flexibility, and academic flexibility. Let me just explain these. Now, what do I mean by course flexibility? One of the most common questions I get asked by students in grade 11 and grade 12 is, what should I study? Right? Students, how many of you are clear what you want to study in your undergraduate degree? How many of you are absolutely clear? Right? How many of you still thinking maybe it's X or maybe it's Y? Raise your hands higher. Yeah? So, I can see from hands much more in second category than in the first, right? And rightly so, because students are still making up their mind. Naima here can give her own example. When she went to Yale, she wanted to do math. But then she eventually graduated, she did a major called ethnicity, race and migration. So the US allows you to go undecided. So you can enter a college not knowing what you want to graduate in, right? And you figure out as you navigate your degree. You can figure out as late as end of second year. You can finish 2 years of college, not sure what are you graduating in, right? And then make up your mind and graduate. And how does it work? Over 4 years, which is 8 semesters, you are typically doing 30 to 35 courses. Every semester you are doing 4 to 5 courses. 8 semesters into 4 is about 30 to 35 courses. In any US college, you do about 12 to 15 courses towards your major. So if you are doing a degree in economics, out of 30-35, about 12 to 13 courses are in economics, and the others can be in math, in computing, in the humanities, so they can be all across. So that is what allows you to pick your degree as late as end of second year. So it's extremely flexible, you don't have to worry. If you're in 11th, 12th and looking to go to the US, don't worry right now, what is it that I should major in? Of course, make up your mind, figure out what are the subjects you like, but you don't have to decide now. You can decide once you start studying there, right? And we've given some examples here of Shubham, Richa, Naveen. All of them, Naveen for example majored in computer science and psychology. Richa, she applied undecided and then chose marketing. Shubham went for MBA and went for BBA and shifted to mechanical engineering. So look at the contrast in the shift. Kavita majored in electrical engineering and film studies. So that's the other thing. You can also double major. Electrical and film studies. Again, look at the contrast. So US gives you all of this course flexibility. Duration flexibility, I mentioned the degree is 4 years, but some students finish the degree in 5 years, some finish in 3 years. You can take an year off in the middle, you can take a semester off and come back. It doesn't mean you've failed or it doesn't mean you've dropped. You've just taken time off. Academics, there is virtually continuous evaluation. So you were measured for attendance, you were measured for assignments, you were measured for class participation, for tests and quizzes during the semester, and of course for your exams. So unlike in India where a lot of emphasis is on the final exam, and you navigate your college not studying much but just doing well in your final exam, in the US you have to be extremely alert during the entire semester. In fact, even if you miss a week, you find that you're really lagging behind. And types of universities in the US, as I mentioned, there are about 4,000 universities and colleges in the US. We've put them in 4 broad buckets. That's not how the US classifies them. That's a Jamboree way of classifying them. We've put universities in a category called top private universities. So these are private universities which are right at the top. Johns Hopkins, Yale, Stanford, Penn, Harvard, many names got taken here. Then there are also top public universities. So US, you have great universities in the private sector, equally good in the public sector. So UC Berkeley, UCLA, University of Michigan Ann Arbor, UT Austin, Georgia Tech, and then similarly mid-end private, mid-end public. So lots of choice. Again, everyone gets into a US college. Getting into a US university is not difficult. But the important point is what is the kind of university you get in, right? Did you get into a top university, a middle end? Did you choose the right college for yourself? Did you choose a college which can help you get opportunities later, which can help you gain in confidence? I think those are the critical choices that you have to make. In terms of course options, again, a wide variety. You can pretty much pick anything from engineering, business, sciences, and humanities. I'll spend a minute on fees and financing. Now the fee across countries can be extremely varying. In the US, again the fee varies. It could be as much as 20-25 lakhs. This is, I'm talking fees without scholarships. So some US colleges could be as much as 20-25 lakhs a year, and the highest they go up to is 70 lakhs a year. They've become expensive now, especially with the devaluation of the rupee. So that's the range, 20 lakhs to 70 lakhs. So you can pick a college as per your own capacity. And then on top of that, you can get scholarship. So if you pick a college which has a fee of 40 lakhs and you get a 50% scholarship, then you're effectively paying 20 lakhs a year. There are colleges which even give you 100% scholarship. So some of the colleges that got named, Yale, Princeton, Harvard, give up to 100% scholarship. Their scholarship policies are what is called need-based. So scholarships are based on your family income, not on your merit. So once you are admitted, they will ask for your income statements, they will find out how much your family earns, how much your family spends, and based on that, they determine what is called your need, and then they give you an appropriate scholarship. Many US universities give scholarships, so it's not difficult to get scholarships in the US. And if you are coming from a background which is really in need of funding, then US does allow you to access funding, but you have to apply extremely carefully. You can't be very picky then, right? You can't be picky that I want to go to university XYZ and I want scholarship. That may not work out. But if you are willing to look at a broad range of universities, then scholarships can work out. What are some other ways of funding yourself? You can take loans, all public sector banks today in India give loans. The one which is the most aggressive is a company called Credila, which is an HDFC company. Then scholarships, as I mentioned. Scholarships are also available in many other countries. Canadian universities give a fair bit of scholarships, largely merit-based. Ireland universities give a scholarship. Bhumit is going to talk about his story. He has a 50% scholarship from University College Dublin. UK universities not very liberal on scholarships, but few scholarships do exist. Scholarships are also there in Singapore-based universities. So there are a wide range of scholarships available. Lastly, there's opportunity. So lastly, there are opportunities to work while you are studying. That allows you to make as much as $15-20 an hour, and it can cover your living costs. Many students work, and maybe Naima can narrate her own experiences of working abroad. So those are the ways in which you can finance yourself. So I'm at the end of my part of the presentation. I try to give you a broad overview on countries, the relative advantages and disadvantages of a country, and a little bit I try to throw some light on fees and financing. So thank you very much.
To now talk about a bit about Jamboree, and Jamboree is about a 27-year-old company, and we really started out, and it's a comprehensive company focusing on SAT, GMAT, GRE. So we focus on undergraduate, postgraduate programs, PhD programs, and recently we kind of developed a new product called the Dream College Product Program for the undergraduate kids. So initially we used to do the SAT training, we used to do admission counseling, but then as Naima mentioned, that most of the colleges abroad, especially in the US, Canada, they're looking at a holistic application when they admit you. So they're looking at your extracurriculars, they're looking at academics, your training outside school, Olympiads, MUNs, social work, etc. So this is a very unique program which Jamboree developed, probably one of its kind amongst all education counseling companies in India, called the Dream College Product Program. So this kind of fulfills, if you follow this program, you have a very good shot at making into one of the top universities, because focus on your resume, we focus on your application, we kind of help you fill these various buckets of academic excellence, extracurricular activities, social impact. We start out in 9-10th. That's typically the ideal right time when we get students in this program. We could start as early as class 8, class 7, but 9-10th is probably the best time to come in. And some of the things we do in 9-10th, and I'm going to talk about how it goes by the time your applications are submitted, etc. But in class 9-10, we kind of start out the first point when we enroll a student into the Dream College Product Program is to conduct a psychometric test. So we have a very special psychometric test which is backed by algorithms and which kind of takes a Q&A from you. It asks you certain questions about yourself, your interests, what you want to study, and then tries to give an output. The software tries to give an output as to what your interests are. Do you want to study computer science? Do you like economics? Do you like history? How's your English writing communication skills? So it measures you on a lot of parameters, this test. And this test is meant for a lot of the students who are not very clear. As a lot of you raised hands that you're not very clear what you want to do, what you want to study. So this is like a good measure of really coming out in an objective mathematical format as to what you study. Sometimes this test also doesn't spit out exactly what you want, because it's a computer-based test and it's based on the answers you give in this test. So this is a starting point, and you should try to map what you want to study. And it's been very helpful for those students who really sometimes I don't know. And as Vineet said, it's natural for a class 12th kid not to really know what you want. Sometimes you have examples all throughout. Students became engineers, MBAs, switched professions. So it's very natural for students not to know. The second, and what we really do after the psychometric test is then assign a counselor. we assign a counselor to you. Jamboree has some very experienced counselors on the undergraduate side, and we assign a counselor and a mentor. So this is a very unique program for Jamboree, where there's a counselor coming in and a mentor. A counselor is an experienced hand, very experienced in terms of writing applications, choosing universities, building your roadmap, which I'll talk later. And a mentor is a senior leadership person in the company, probably a person like me, probably like Vineet. And we have a large leadership team at Jamboree. Most of us at the leadership mentor level have had experience, a lot of experience dealing with universities. Most of them have gotten their degrees, graduate, postgraduate degrees in the US, UK, and these top universities. And it's a very unique program because the counselor is kind of the day-to-day. The counselor guides the student on a day-to-day basis. We normally create a WhatsApp group. We come in on the group, and the mentor comes in once a month or once in 2 months in terms of guiding the student, making sure the process is moving in the right direction. We kind of coach you for the PSAT. PSAT is a preliminary SAT coaching exam, which is a precursor to the main SAT exam. So we try to start teaching you the PSAT so that when you give the SAT, you're well prepared. We also encourage you to apply to summer school programs. So there's some very interesting summer school programs abroad. All over the world, there's some summer school programs. US obviously has some very interesting programs. And if you're aspirational in terms of going to Ivy Leagues, the Ivy Leagues do a very good job of summer school programs. Brown University, Stanford, Yale, all over the place, there's some very good programs. Even now, Indian universities, where Vineet mentioned we are part of Ashoka, they've got some phenomenal summer programs. Ashoka has this YSP, Plaksha has the YTS. And so this is encouraging because then it gives student a flavor of going to a university at the 10th, 11th, 12th level, helps the student understand what a university environment is, gets to know some of the professors. So as a student you understand, because the professors who teach the summer programs are full-time professors who will teach you at the undergraduate level. We teach you coding classes. So coding and computer science is becoming very integral. Even in humanities, social sciences is becoming very integral. Jamboree has its own online workshops on book reading and writing. Book reading and writing is a very critical skill set. And if you have good writing, communication skills, very strong relationship with critical thinking, community service is something which we make you part of. So you're filling all the buckets. And so basically all these activities are going on to bring a very, very strong profile, filling in the buckets and moving forward. We obviously, when the counselor and the mentor work with the child, we also take into cognizance the school activities that the child is going on, in terms of exams. So we kind of fill in the calendar for the next 6-7 months because sometimes the exams are going on, sometimes there are other activities in school are going on. So very conscious of that. We don't put too much pressure on the child, but make sure that the process is moving forward. In class 11, we start preparing you the SAT. We have a very unique program, the Research Scholar Program. And as Naima mentioned, that if you are sure about what you want to do, let's say she talked biology, and if you want to know that I'm interested in biology or computer science, we have a tie-up with some of the very good institutions where the PhD scholars in Ivy League universities doing their final PhD thesis. And they involve the student in one of the research programs, build a project out of it, and that can be showcased. We kind of coach, we kind of recommend students giving the AP exams. So APs are subject tests in 38 subjects. They happen once a year in May, and strongly recommended, and that's part of the profile building. Summer programs we've talked about, project-based corporate internships. So while we are trying to have you involved with PhD scholars to do some research, we also encourage you to go to a corporate, because ultimately at the end of the day you're going to work somewhere. So we try to give you that experience. Online working workshops I've already talked about, community service we've talked about, and the final stage when you come into class 12, pretty much we fill in your buckets, and then that's the time when all your scores are out, your 12th grades are out, and then we start looking at universities, university selections, letter of recommendations, essays, etc. And then it's time to select universities, colleges, countries where you want to. So typically what we do is we, as discussing with the parents and the child, we try to give you multiple country options too. So it's not that we kind of say, oh, just go to the US. So we say, okay, apply a few to Canada, apply a few in the US, apply 1 or 2 colleges in UK, and then that's also specific depending on parents' needs and the child's needs.